Hi, my name is Payman. I'm making a book report for this one. Okay, so I'm just gonna go back here and read it. So I'm gonna say the book description, the title of the book: Cyrus the Great, Conqueror, Liberator, Anointed One, and the author is Stephen Dando-Collins. I hope I pronounce this person's last name proper. It was published by Turner Publishing Company. The year is 2020. Copyright by Stephen Dando-Collins. It has 21 chapters. Number of pages 221 pages. So, one of the important aspect that I'm doing a research about Cyrus, I want to see how Cyrus influenced the world and how Cyrus is relevant today world. So the author on page one says Cyrus has been credited with being the originator of a human rights creed that influenced Thomas Jefferson and his contribution to the U.S. Bill of Rights. Jefferson not only had a copy of Greek writer Xenophon of Athens, a book in which the words, thought, and expression of Cyrus are expounded, but he also made a copious notation in the margin. Many other politicians, including Italy's Duplessis, Niccolo Machiavelli, drew inspiration from Cyrus. The author on page 9 says the Cyrus slander text includes a self-propagandized statement by Cyrus on how he conquered Babylon, restored the worship of Marduk, and repaired and improved the great city. It also says that during the following year, Cyrus freed foreign captives taken, taken to Babylon by King Nabonidus. I cannot pronounce this name half a century earlier and allow them to return to their homelands and restore their old tempers. One of the issue with this author is attacking. Okay, we shouldn't be attacking at people. Anybody who wants to be a fair presenter, they need just to find the facts, present the facts, and readers will make a decision based on those facts that author or a journalist provides those information. They're going to make a decision for them, and it is really very turn off. So I could see the biases exist in this book against Cyrus the Great. So accuracy of this book becomes questionable for me right from the beginning. So if you do your research and you open the Holy Bible, Ezra, particularly that one from 1 to 4, God tells Cyrus the Great, go liberate um, people of Jews in Babylon. And that's what Cyrus the Great did. So now somebody could come and say, Bible is not accurate source of information, and we need to have to more information to prove what I am claiming, what other people are claiming. That's a fair way of saying it. Nothing wrong with it. It's a constructive criticism. But the language of attacking at other people, particularly like at another country's national identity, Cyrus the Great is a national identity of Iran, it is turned up. So it is a huge problem. So I talked about that one. So how did Cyrus the Great become a leader? When we are talking about um, any classical leaders or anyone in ancient times, it is very difficult to have some kind of a reliable source of information. So based on those information, we could write something about it. So Cyrus the Great was divine, mysterious. He was not any different than Italian founder of Italy. So it is like so enigmatic. It's so mystery involved into it. That's why when we are talking about the Cyrus the Great, it has those ingredients: mystery, divine intervention. But we know for a fact that he was born in a royal family, and his grandpa, maternal grandfather, saw a dream that Cyrus the Great is taking over his kingdom. So that caused fear in him and asked his daughter to move away from the capital where he was controlling. He didn't want his daughter to be there. So that becomes a problem. Cyrus the Great comes into the picture at the time that at the same time, um, his grandfather, Cyrus the Great's maternal grandfather, asked one of his entourage to kill Cyrus the Great. But the entourage, these Persian names or Median names are very ancient. I cannot pronounce them properly. I apologize. So that person takes the baby home and wants to kill it, but his wife intervenes and they say we cannot do it, and they didn't kill the baby. So Cyrus the Great grows up in this home, and based on, maybe it is true, maybe it's not true, when they was playing games, maybe he was in his 13 years old, 12 years old, he was playing games, and one of the kids didn't want to listen to him because it was supposed to be the kids decided Cyrus to become the king. And because that kid didn't listen, and that kid had a royal lineage, got smacked by Cyrus the Great. But you see, the story itself, from my point of view, is a constructive criticism. It seems to me, is it really accurate? Like it is like some kind of a, because we don't have reliable sources, we are just guessing that we are just planting the seed in people's mind that he was destined to become a king. So people elected him to be playing a role to become a king, and the kid didn't listen, and he gave a good smack into the king. And but the king comes and says what's going on, and begin to realize, well, this 13 years old or 12 years old boy acting noble and must be somehow fitting in that kids that I was supposed to kill. These kind of things to me, like when you're born and raised in a home, you're adopting the quality of your parents. So was he really exposed to the royal family? Like for example, when we are talking about Moses, it, do you see the parallel reasoning into it? Moses, mom gave a birth to Prophet Moses, put him in a river, then goes to the royal family, Pharaoh's house. He was born and raised over there. But this one is a little bit different, but it is this kind of same idea coming into the picture. It's a fascinating biography to read and to understand. So I really liked that part of it. I was thinking about to myself, like, who is Cyrus the Great is coming into it. But the author of this book is referring to those ancient Persian names, ancient Median names. It is fascinating, really, to look into it. The other things that the fate of Mithraism, on page 33, the author says Mithraism, the worship of Mithra, became popular throughout the Roman Empire, especially among slaves and the lower ranks of the army, rivaling Christianity until it later became the religion of the emperor, after which followers of Mithra were officially persecuted and stamped out. Author Reza Zarqami, in his book Discovering Cyrus the Persian Conqueror as Strike the Ancient World, stated that the fate of Mithra, it's different. Okay, like we could say things, like for example, oh, we don't like the fate of Mithra, we begin to say things, oh, it's irrelevant, it's something like that. But I'm also reading that author's book, and I will make a book review for that one. Doesn't make sense. Okay, so I'm not saying the fate of Mithraism is great, we go worship, but to be accurate, we need to be good. And we could see this author has some kind of a bias. That's what I mean. Has some kind of a bias against Iran. Okay, so first we had the fate of Mithra. Okay, and the fate of Mithra was something that this author Reza Zarqawi says that's apparently Cyrus the Great was adhering to the faith of Mithraism, not so much to Zoroastrianism, but Darius the Great and Xerxes the Great were Zoroastrian. That's what he is saying. That I'm reading that book, but this author is just trying to downplay and putting it down, walking away from other facts is not so cool. Okay, so we have the facts that he goes and conquers the Babylon and liberates the Jews. That's a fact. And when he went there, he did not harm. He didn't confiscate properties. And what we have about the Cyrus the Great, that his skills. Okay, in the next book I will be talking about it. I don't want to give it away, but yes, he went, he conquered. That's very important. Then, what was the reason? This is a key question that this author doesn't answer it, that popped up in my mind, that how was it possible that he conquered other nations, but the other nations did not revolt against him? That is very key point. One of the interesting point is that he allowed for people to hold on their religious belief, and the rulers were not being killed or they were replaced by just ambivalent another person. So people did, they had a self autonomy. Okay, they had a self autonomy. They were not being personalized. They had their own to control how they want to manage their affairs. But it is a fact that those rulers were unjust to their people, and they were more of a subject. And Cyrus the Great made the subject transited to the citizen. That's how he did. But these are the ancient times. They do not have the concept of our modern time. What is subject? What is citizen? It's This is a good book. Please read it, but use it as a research to read other books about Cyrus the Great and try to understand it. Do I recommend it for you to buy this book? Please do so, because you're going to increase your intellectuality, you're going to question your own knowledge, and you're going to pursue other books about Cyrus the Great or other global leaders that you want to know, and begin to compare them with one another. Cheers.